right. Well, the new Ford got a new look. There she is. This is a Carli Backcountry leveling system. They call it a 3.5 inch leveling kit. Truck's a little bit dirty right now. It's been a busy week. These are KMC GRS wheels. They're obviously not a real beadlock. Kind of the milled black look. See the Carli coil, Fox 2.0s with the whatever, Carli's custom valving and all that. I stayed stock on the radius arms. I didn't spend $2,000 on, or 1,800 bucks on some fabricated radius arms. I did, however, opt for the Carli torsion sway bar with the billet end links. I did the track bar, which you can see that big old beefy track bar. And then I did the high mount Carli steering stabilizer to correct the right side pull in these things. Those are Toyo AT3s. They are 37 inch, 37 18s, 37 12 5 18. They are E-rated. Even though they're an E-rated, they surpass the factory weight rating on these things, so I'm not worried about that whatsoever. I think it looks badass, man. It's beefy. It's real beefy. I think it looks so much better with that tucked up running board rather than the guys that have the fixed ones, you know. It's just preference. These are a plus 18 offset on the tire, so, or on the wheel, so tires just barely hanging out, not much at all, you know, just poking just enough. I didn't do a super aggressive tire. I really like the look of these AT3s. I've had the AT2 Extremes before, and they wear good, they're quiet. These are supposed to be really good in the wet stuff, so I'll be interested to see how that goes this summer. Here's kind of a look. In the rear, I did a 1-inch block. Well, I think factory's a 2-inch block, so that's a 3-inch block. And then obviously the reservoir shock up under there. Basically, it's a 1-inch larger block than factory. Oh, I wish they would have trimmed those. I never noticed that before. I need to trim the thread that's hanging down off underneath that on those U-bolts, but there's a little better look at the tire. I mean, they just barely poke out. I think it looks super clean. As far as drivability and everything on the 37's, I don't notice any power loss whatsoever. I mean, these trucks obviously have gobs and gobs of power. I'll give you kind of a front. There's the front stance. It's beefy looking. It's freaking hot out here. I don't think there's anything else. Did the caster shims in there. Sway bar, coils, shocks, steering stabilizer. Let's cool off in here. I've had this on for a couple days. It's great on the freeway. It's very, very composed. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I have my GPS speedo set up on my other phone because I have not done a calculation correction on the speedometer. I plan to jump on 4Scan and do that. I just got to have the time to play with it. I think it's off by 2-3 miles an hour. Under 50, it's like within a mile an hour, and maybe it's just the GPS. I don't know how that works, but it's only off by a couple. But getting back to how it rides and everything, it is an improvement. It is very much an improvement. I'm not going to say it's not improvement, because it is. It feels tighter. It feels more composed. I know that there's quality components within the kit. I'm running my tire pressure about 45, 48 PSI right now. Obviously, once I'm throwing a trailer on here, I'll have to take those up. I think these are rated at 65. The guys at the shop, Cal Truck Specialties, did this. They did a great job. I'm very happy with them. They ordered everything. The price was what they said it was. It arrived. They got me in on the day they said they would. It was done before they said it would be done. They said it would take all day. I dropped it off at 8. It was done by 2:30 or 3. So super stoked with those guys. If you're in NorCal, check them out. They've done some of my friends' trucks, and nothing but good things from them. And the components are, Carli's components. They're not their components. So I was expecting it to be a little bit better, I'll be honest with you. And I don't mean that to be an asshole or anything. It's just, this is a real world seat of the pants review of what you can expect. It's not, if I had to put a percentage on how much better the truck is, I'll call it 50% better. It's definitely better. I don't regret doing it, but it was a lot of money. I think I probably could have got the same ride without doing the reservoir shocks. Those are going to shine a little more in the rough stuff. You still feel bumps and everything else like that. It's just the truck feels much more composed and much more tight when you do hit any sort of rough road. And obviously the main thing I was going for was the look. I mean, the stance is killer. It tucks those 37's in there. There's zero rubbing with that plus 18 offset, which is, I think it's like 4 3/4 or 5 inches of back spacing. The plus 18 offset, zero rubbing, full lock, left to right, and I can do everything. It doesn't rub at slow speeds. The truck does not feel like it's on big, heavy tires. That's one reason I went with those Toyo AT3s. I almost went with the Falcon Wild Peak AT3W, I think it is, which they were right in the same price range. They're like 9 pounds heavier per tire, which that's a lot of unsprung weight. I think the factory tire, which were a 34 and change, these are 36 and a half. They're not a true 37. None of them are. These are like 8 pounds heavier. I think the stock tires are like 61 and these are 70, so it's 9 pounds difference. Going to those Wild Peaks would have been even 9 pounds more than that. So 20 pounds per corner, that's a lot. Unsprung weight is something that a lot of people don't take into consideration on these big old trucks. Even though they've got 1,000 foot-pounds of torque and all that, that's a lot of rotating mass. It's a lot of weight. It's a lot of drag. It kills mileage and all that type of stuff. But yeah, so these were 9 pounds lighter. This is like the last, I ordered the tires through America's Tire. That was the only place I could get them. They shipped them in from Georgia. They were like the last set in their system, so I paid for them up front and went ahead and swooped on them. See if I can get you a picture of the Speedo there. And the one on the phone, the GPS one, is just a little bit delayed, so it's, once I keep it at and I don't know the accuracy of that, it's the only tool I have to check it, But yeah, so I went with the AT3s. I drive a ton. If you've watched any of my stuff, you know how much I drive, 30,000 miles a year or so. So I figure if I can get 1.5 to 2 years out of these tires, I'll be stoked. And they're quiet. They don't make any noise. I picked up a little bit of road noise. Just overall, I'm higher, and obviously a bigger tire. It's gonna be a little louder, just naturally. But overall, I'm super happy with them. They're quiet. They're smooth. They're very smooth. You can just barely hear them a little bit, But here you go, 51, 49, 51, 42. It's 2-3 miles an hour difference. It's not terrible. I've heard some guys have a lot of problems when they try to redo the computer through Forescan, going to the 37's. We'll see if I have any luck. Worst case, it's off by a little bit. Your odometer's off by a hair. I'm not terribly worried about it. And I'm fully expecting to lose, 2 miles a gallon by switching to these 37's. I've heard 1 mile, I've heard up to 3 miles per gallon. You don't do this obviously to gain fuel mileage. You do it for off-road performance, overall looks. Let's be honest, it's a vanity thing, it's a custom thing, it's whatever you want to call it. You know, you do it because it looks cool, and that's fine. It's what I'm into. It's one of my hobbies, is cars and toys and customizing shit, you know what I mean? It's not it doesn't always have to make sense and be the most practical thing in the world, you know what I mean? This truck is not the most practical thing in the world, I know that. So even though I do use it for towing and all that, there's much more practical ways to do it. So, you know, I don't really want to hear the comments of people, oh, well, that's stupid, you just made your truck worse. No, I didn't. I made the truck ride better. I made the truck look better. And, you know, if that's not what you're into, go do what you're into. You know what I mean? People's comments are funny on here sometimes with just the dumb shit that people say, which I try not to let it get to me, but whatever. But yeah, so Carli Backcountry kit. If I had to do it over again for what I use it for every day and all that, I would probably just do the commuter system and add. I really would like to drive it without that torsion sway bar. You know, I know that's a long-term thing. That thing, you know, it's going to last a lot better. I know that it's supposed to take a lot of the side-to-side jolt out of the truck and let it articulate a little bit better. You know, coming in and out of the driveway, it's definitely better. They say, you know, oh, you won't spill your coffee. If I was holding a cup of coffee that was full, it would still spill. You know, it's still a big-ass 8,000 pound straight axle truck. It rides better, it's more composed, it's tighter, but it's not like you don't feel the bumps or anything like that. I'm really glad I didn't spring for the Kings, you know, because I know those shine off-road and all that, but on the street, you know, they run like a normal shock absorber. It's when you hit the pothole and, you know, stuff like that, and that's when the real off-road shocks shine. But most of the time we're driving on decent roads. You know, there's definitely spots around town and stuff like that that are worse than others, but yeah. So overall, super stoked with the look of the truck is the main thing. It looks great. You know, I kept the stock wheels and all that stuff. I thought about just doing tires on them. I'm glad I did 37's with this leveling kit. I think 35's would just look puny underneath there. I think these are perfect. They fill the wheel wells out and all that, and we'll see on the wheels. You know, I don't know that those wheels will stay on there long term. It's like one of those things, like I look at them and I'm like, oh man, I love them, and then I think I really would like them if they were cast, or not cast. I don't like that they're cast on the interior of the wheel and then they're milled on that, just the face. I wish that milling was all the way through and they, you know, had a little more polish to them. I think they would look knockout awesome, you know. I don't know, there's just something about them to me that just looks a little bit cheap, and they were not cheap by any means. I wish they were more machined throughout, you know. So we'll see. I might throw some methods on there, but I figured what the hell, worst thing that happens is I buy these and I sell them, and I'll lose a little bit of money on them, and then put something on there that I really like. I know the method machined 315s will look really good on here, but I just wanted to try something different on the wheels and see how it looked, you know. I like the black trim ring around there. I think it looks kind of cool, but it looks more like a kind of a deserty off-road looking wheel. So that's what I did to the truck, man. And if anybody has any questions or comments, feel free to shoot me a note, and I'll do a review, you know, on these tires if the next time I get into some off-road situation. I gotta head up to the mountains to look at a job here shortly, and I'm probably gonna go fishing while I'm up there. And I know a spot that has kind of some back roads that, you know, I could probably get up to speed a little bit and test this suspension system out, which is, you know, why it's there for those situations also. So I might do that. I might make a video of that in the next couple weeks, because I gotta jam up the hill to Tahoe and look at a cell tower job. So more to come on that, but hopefully this helps anybody who's on the fence of a backcountry. It's great, you're not going to regret it, but for the money, I'd probably just go with a commuter and probably ride the exact same. But that's my 2 cents.